Gaza, a birthright, and tariffs. What a week. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, the 9th of February. And, well, it was quite a week. A lot of things considered constitutional or unconstitutional. We'll discuss it all. But at the end of the day, the first thing I can say was the executive order for Trump to ban trans athletes from women's sports. God bless America. That's what we're looking for. Transgender. You want to be transgender? I got no problem with that, but I don't want you playing in a women's sport. And finally, that stupid-ass organization known as the NCAA, who destroyed sports in general, as they finally agreed to ban the trans women or the trans men or to athletes from their sports, because, of course, the big story all year was this, the San Jose State. But men don't belong in women's sports no matter what they feel. You want, like I said, you want to be trans, great. I got no problem with that. I do have a problem when you take an unfair advantage of athletes because, of course, men and women are built differently, and their strengths and testosterone and other things are completely different. So certainly any man or male athlete that is on the equivalent to a woman is going to be stronger. And it's not a fair thing, and it was a stupid fight to begin with. So finally, let's get rid of that and move on. On Friday, we had a jobs number, and of course, it was mediocre. But I think lost in the translation of the jobs number is that over the period, 1 million foreign-born workers got a job. 0 native-borns got a job. So again, there's the issue that we continue, and of course, much created by the Biden administration with the overwhelming opening of the borders. And of course, that takes me to, which we'll get more into our commentary, is the birthright. Okay, and of course, birthright is the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. I will give you more of my opinion on that later. But again, I think the big thing that we have to discuss and think about is the overwhelming amount of citizens created through birthright through the Biden administration was in the millions, okay, of people that shouldn't have been here that came through the border illegally. But I'll get more into that later. Again, it is the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, and there are some things that they talk about, but in the meantime, we will get back to that in our commentary. We have 14 states now fighting against Elon Musk and Doge to exist government payment systems. Well, you have to ask yourself a question. Okay, we are funding all this money that goes out. Did you know that we are paying money to the Wuhan lab? Did you know that there's automatic payments that are going out? So again, you want to talk about stuff that's going on. Your money, my money, is being pissed away, and some of it going to organizations you as a citizen would never support. And I think that, again, is Elon Musk 100% right, or is Trump 100% right? I don't know. But I do know that it's time to stop giving away American money. Okay? It is time to stop penalizing taxpayers and making us pay for your stupid mistakes or for your own little payroll system. Okay? And of course, Trump against sanction campaign against Tehran's oil network. God bless. Let's shut them down. And of course, that brings us into Gaza as well. You know, the Gaza story is interesting. And listen, I'd like to be there. I'd like to take over the Gaza Strip. I think, we could keep peace in the area, number one. Number two, there is an enormous amount of natural gas there. And of course, we have more natural gas in this country than anybody. But again, it would help our people. It would help the United States to be able to ship and liquefy our natural gas instead of also putting a big damper on Russia's power, which again, as you know, I believe that the United States should be the world power and not give back what the Biden administration has done over the last 4 years. I believe that we have given up and we are showing dramatic weakness throughout the world, and I think it's time we take it back, which brings me to tariffs. And I'm all for tariffs, okay? I'm all for paying a little bit more. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, would you rather pay more taxes, or would you rather pay less taxes and pay a little bit more for goods and services? That's really what the question comes down to, okay? Because again, if we can cut down your tax bill and you had to pay it for goods and services that would help support your fellow Americans, okay, for U.S. made products, would you be happy with that? Would that be a fair trade to you? And I think obviously the tariffs are used for many different reasons, just as sanctions are. You can see that we've stopped so far the tariffs against Mexico and Canada. And I think, listen, again, I'm for North America being standalone. I don't have any problem with our neighbors to the north or the south, as long as they don't try to do things illegally, as long as we can control the immigration, and as long as they take back those that need to be deported, okay? But I'm tired of the illegal drugs coming in this country. I'm tired of the child slavery, the child trafficking, and human trafficking. I think that those are all problems that need to be solved. And of course, I think you've seen that when people are willing to work with President Trump, the tariffs kind of slow down, and I think that should be the way it is. That is, financial power is power, okay? DOG's Pam Bondi, love Pam Bondi, stop federal funding to all sanctuary cities. I think that's great. I don't believe in sanctuary cities. Do you? Okay, I know some of you who watch live in Chicago. Are you happy with Chicago being a sanctuary city? Of course, obviously you live in Chicago, you don't care about taxes, and if you live in some of the wealthier suburbs, you certainly don't mind paying $40,000, $50,000 a year, which is more than the average income of an American person for just real estate taxes. So, but are you happy being in a sanctuary city? I don't know. I wouldn't be. And I think what you're watching, okay, is a third of all U.S. states are now exploring Bitcoin for their public funds, crypto. And I think, as I've said all along, I believe crypto is real. I believe it's something that we're going to see. And of course, Trump's finance Besant, he's a gold bug, and he's also a Bitcoin or a crypto bug as well. Could be very good for everybody. I think the one of the problems we're now watching is, the bird flu, which has been the big story. It doesn't affect ducks and geese, okay? It affects just chickens. Now, is that really? Are they the only ones who get the bird flu? Okay. And now there's an egg surcharge hits diners' wallets. Experts say consumers should fear menu price hikes. Of course, there's going to be menu price hikes. Okay. But if you remember, as I said to you last week, when they came out with that we had the lowest cattle area since 1951, you now see cattle prices falling, which doesn't make sense, but yet we still see very high prices. And of course, we are now in the worst position, the worst period, thanks to President Biden, okay, of debt to GDP. We are on pace to be at 118% of debt to GDP and going higher. This is the highest since World War II. And of course, again, I think I personally am sick of the government pissing away my money, okay? And they don't have any money of their own. Remember, without the taxpayer, there is no government. And of course, the federal government is bullshit anyways, and is way too big. It was never designed to be the biggest employer in the world. And of course, if we go back to the USA, which again, that they're taking things away. I mean, how did they get in? And all these electric payments, automatic payments throughout the globe to places we don't even know. Okay, I mean, this goes back to that all of the dollars that were stolen during the PPP plan, all of the dollars that are consistently stolen from government because government's too lazy to look at it. So aren't you happy that you have somebody at least looking after or pretending to look after your best interest? I think that is something that is good. Listen, again, I'm a fan of President Trump. I'm a fan of tariffs. I'm a fan of the United States standing up and telling the rest of the world to go fuck off if they don't want to do things correctly and they don't want to do business in the right manner. And I'm certainly not at all upset that there's going to be tariffs. I am not upset so far. I'm not upset at anything that's going on because I think that we need to regain the respect that we lost through the Biden administration, the laughing and the advantage taken and the millions and billions of dollars that were given away of your money. I think that is something through Big Pharma, through the COVID, through all of it, we, the American people, got ripped off. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, February the 9th, and of course it is Super Bowl Sunday too. We will have our selection later, but of course I'll give a word from our sponsors and then our market report, and of course our sponsors are of course brokerage, most of them are brokerage partners. And again, you can use any broker you want, just full disclosure. These are the ones I prefer. I use more than one, but for your futures and commodities and a lot of the programs that we offer that are automated, we do those through Capital Trading Group. Great service, great operation. We're just launching our brand new ratio product, which is going to be awesome. Okay, we've already been doing it from our Saturday call. But Capital Trading Group, you can see them on the website. There's a link down below. And of course, Tradier Brokerage, $10 a month for commission, saves me over $100,000 a year in commission. Again, I can't talk of anything better. And of course, all of our equity stuff is automated through Trader if you choose. Hedging, you pay a licensing fee for our portfolio models. It's free. And it'll do all your executions automatically if you choose. That is entirely up to you, and it does it to your specs. And of course, ITM Trading, great organization. I buy and have bought all my gold and silver from them for years, my physical metals. It's ITM Trading, and their website is also on the top. But a great organization. I just did a nice interview with Danielle Cambone, who works with them. And of course, our bookmaker special, our offshore specialist, SpookyExpress.com. A good friend of mine, Spooky Express, does a great job helping bettors get placed in places that they'd like to be and offshore. So if you want to check them out, SpookyExpress.com. And of course, our high school program, which again we try to continue to build and help American children learn a little bit about finance, so that we can quit being one of the most financially illiterate countries in the world with what we teach. Because our teachers, I can tell you from experience, don't teach anything but stupidity. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and of course our market report. Well, another Monday, another bombshell, dropping, tanking market that spent the rest of the week rallying back again. And of course the NASDAQ futures on Monday night were down almost limit. And again, as I said, spent the week coming back. So 2 weeks ago, S&P was down 60 points after a big bomb on a Monday. Last week, the S&P was down 14 points after a big bomb on a Monday. And it does look, though, that we may be turning it over. It looks like we may be starting to head to the downside. And again, I'm not predicting, and in fact, our positions will tell you differently. But again, just an opinion, a little bit more action, a little more activity, and these big down days that we spend buying, because again, we're all accustomed to buying the dip. But so far, on a weekly chart, the last 2 weeks, you've seen lower highs. So we'll see. In the meantime, and the four major indices, we're long the S&P, we're long the Russell, we're flat the NASDAQ, we're flat the Dow. The dollar, which we don't trade, but we would be long dollars, of course. And again, we don't trade not because we have anything against the dollar. We don't trade it because it's too expensive to trade it through New York. The euro currency were flat. It was lower. Bonds and notes have rallied a little bit, but came back down a little bit on Friday. But overall, interest rates have come down a little bit, but still only down, the 10-year down to 4.5. We are flat bonds and notes after being long for quite a while. Bitcoin we're long. Gets back down around that 95,000. Had a huge move up, made a new high, and then cracked, which makes sense. I'm still looking for, even though we're long, wouldn't be surprised if 85,000 came into play first. Gold made all-time highs 3 or 4 times this week. Closed the week on an up note, but gave back a little bit. Closed under 2,900. But we're still looking at gold, and I think gold is still bullish, but I do expect a little bit of a pullback. We're flat. Silver is continuing to try to rally and break out. We're still flat. We don't trade platinum, but we would be flat here if we did. Copper was higher, but it's still stuck in a range. We are flat. In the grain markets, we will be. We're short corn, we're short beans right now. Tonight or tomorrow, whenever you decide to make your trade, we will be short wheat as well. On the cattle market, I only trade cattle. We don't trade it as a group, but I am still short cattle, which I sold at over $2, and I think that we're going substantially lower here. The news is out, the story's out. We're still in a recession. Again, whatever you think of what's going on with President Trump, he's not a miracle worker. He can't turn the economy around in 3 weeks. It's going to take some time and some pain. And I've seen a lot of bitching and whining and moaning about the programs that are being destroyed. I don't think that is correct, and I don't think that the American citizens are going to be unhappy when it's all said and done, except that they're not getting their way to steal a little extra dough. In the meantime, we would be long hogs as well. They both look really good. Crude oil, we're still short, which I believe we're going dramatically lower, along with natural gas. Natural gas is getting close to that $3 level again, and of course now we're out of the true danger season because now they're expecting cold weather, and it's not. Usually the surprises come in August, September, October, before they're prepped up. In the meantime, overall, markets are still slow. So that is one of the problems that keeps us more on the sidelines. There's not enough activity to keep markets busy enough. So you have to be very careful. And I would still recommend, other than looking for high probability setups for short-term trades, obviously always investing and being hedged. But if you're looking to trade moderately, I think this is a great time to observe. Okay. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horwitz. We'll be back right after our final break with our commentary and our football pick. Well, kids, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel, but I will remind you of CTG, our futures trader, TRADIER Brokerage for options and equities, ITM Trading for gold and silver and platinum, and of course Spooky Express for your gambling needs, and our high school program, which will help everybody if we could ever get it fully instituted. Because we'd have to get teachers that want to teach it, though, but that would be something that would be important. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, February the 9th, and it's Super Bowl Sunday. And, of course, I opened up with talking about birthright. And, again, I know it's the 14th Amendment, which came in 1860. I don't have a problem with it. My problem and my issue with birthright now is the size and the numbers because of all the illegal immigration. I don't think when you come to the country illegally, okay, and you're going to be back deported, I do not believe that your children should be citizens when you are not here, when you're not supposed to be here, and you did not come in correctly into this country. Again, I was willing to, and all for. Before the Biden administration, I wanted Trump to make everybody who was here before he was putting up the wall, I wanted everybody that was on United States property to become citizens because I thought it was the right thing to do. Now, with all the criminals and the gangsters here and all the people that have been put over here, until we get a better picture on who they are and what they are, and if they belong here or not, and what they are doing here, I don't have a problem with the executive order. Now, whether or not the executive order will hold, that's another story because it is part of the Constitution. Somebody asked me about, well, if you're for against the birthright, well, what about the Second Amendment? I said, well, I don't really give a shit about the Second Amendment. I'm going to carry or not. I'm going to carry whether legally or not. But my point is that things change. Okay, and when you go from 250,000, 200,000 of illegals that have children, so they get birthright, from that number to 1.2 to 2 million people a year, to me that's something different because I think being an American is special, and I don't think that those that came in illegally that were shipped in, those that are criminals that have criminal records, they don't have the right to be citizens of this country, okay? They're children, I understand it, but let them grow up and come through legal channels because their parents are criminals and don't belong here. Again, there's a real fine line, and obviously I don't have enough time on this Sunday to go through it all, so I'm in the middle, okay? But I was in favor back in Trump's first administration to make all people in this country from that day forward a citizen and then shut the borders. Of course, Harris and Biden opened up the borders that now I have to rethink my overall position. Okay, but if you come in, you're a worker, you're a good person, you're not a criminal, I have no issue. But again, we have too many criminals that have been shipped into this country, and I find that to be a problem. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, February the 9th. Kansas City, Philadelphia. The whole overwhelmingly, everybody here says Philadelphia is a better team. I don't doubt it. I am taking Kansas City. That is my pick. I do have a couple of props I do like, and I don't think you'll be able to find them anymore. But I love Xavier Worthy for Kansas City over 4.5 yards rushing. Okay, and I like under 25.5 for the longest rush for Saquon Barkley. And that will do it for today's Bubba's Bottom Line. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. And, of course, enjoy the Super Bowl. Adios. We'll see you later, everybody.